Committee members have had a chance to review. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. New business. Item number 1 is approval of change order number 1 with Goldman Contractors for the Ed Love Water Treatment Plant and Water Distribution Project Phase B, additional 134 calendar days. Welcome, Kimberly.
Hello, this is just what that says. It's a no-cost 134-day calendar day extension on this particular project, and this was due to equipment delays.
So when will that actually push the completion date?
Just out the 134 days, so towards the end of the year.
Okay. Questions?
So equipment's been ordered, it's not coming in, we're giving them 134 days.
Yes.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2 is approval of change order number 2 with Double Diamond Construction Company for lift station 10 and 11 upgrades. Total is $45,042.03 and an additional 305 days. Kimberly?
So the time extension, the 305-day extension is again for material and equipment delays. That's more equipment delays, some of the larger pieces, and then also some of the VFD, the electrical components, things like that. And then the cost, the additional $45,000 is additional work that we identified that needed to be done that we were not fully aware of prior to the project starting. So like, for instance, we couldn't match the existing brick, so we're painting the building. There's some check valves that needed to be replaced, some different things like that.
Does this take this project completion next summer?
Yeah.
Is that right?
No. It'll be towards the end of the calendar year,
Okay.
next year.
Of next year, okay. Questions, committee members? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2 is approved. Item number 3 is approval. Task order directive number 2 with Duncan Coker Associates for downtown University Boulevard corridor improvement project. The total is $70,100. Mike?
Well, good afternoon. This
afternoon.
task order directive number 2 is to, for Duncan Coker to create the master plan for this corridor section. TOD number 1 was the survey work and so forth, so this is moving on forward with generating a master plan.
Questions?
So, come on up. So when do y'all think, assuming we approve this today, when do y'all think you would have the master plan proposal ready?
Mr. Bosey, I think we'd have the first draft in 60 to 90 days, from which obviously we'd get stakeholder input. That's what this has been all about. You know, we've gone through multiple iterations of this thing so far.
That was part of the next question.
Large scope, small scope.
Is
somewhere in
anything
between.
we've done previously salvageable and usable?
Absolutely. You know, we're gonna reduce what we had in the federal, when the federal funding was part of it. We're gonna take that and scale it back and get it to something more manageable, construction cost wise and constructible.
And so when you take input from stakeholders, give me some examples of who do you go out to get thoughts on what should be included in the plan?
I think it's you all, of course, UA representatives. We tossed around the idea of doing a community meeting. I think that's still on the table that way, because I mean we're about to invent the recipe for the phased approach to building this project. So
Okay.
I think a community meeting would be in order.
I think it's
Somewhere along the
an
way.
absolute must.
Agree.
Do you have a radius in which you're going to gravitate toward the stakeholders in the community for that community meeting?
I'm thinking generally the project corridor, Counselor, the same corridor from before, Lurleen to the stadium, both of y'all's districts, and
Yeah, it includes both of us at certain
Right.
points of that. All right, well, I'm happy to see this thing
Moving.
moving,
Yes, sir.
and let's get the input so we don't have to take the arrows afterwards and then get started. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 3 is approved. Item number 4 is approval Balancing change order to the construction contract with John Plott Company for campus area water distribution system improvements project. That's a mouthful. Deductive total, $160,682.44. Mike?
Yes, sir. So as you just read, this is the balance and change order, and it is a deduct from the contract of approximately $160,000. A little more detail to that. That we were in a funding agreement with the university, so there was some overruns and underruns. Some overruns with the university, underruns with the city. Our savings component of this is almost $290,000, but the total contract change is the $160,682.
How does that, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can you kind of give to us what brought on this deduction?
Okay, so any contract like this, there's estimated quantities that the contractor bids on. At the end of the project, there's an accounting of what they actually used, what did they install. So some numbers are greater, some numbers are lower. And the balancing component is, how much of it went over versus how much of it went under. So that's how those dollar amounts are arrived. This one's a little complicated because there was two partners and two pots of money, that created this amount.
Right.
So, Mike, none of us having problems approving deductive settlements. I do want to understand that I got a little lost in the difference in net deduction of 288 and the 160. Is it that the universities, we were in it for 5.7, they were in it for 1.4, right?
Yes, sir.
Our 5.7 went down 288,000. Their 1.4 went up 128. Is that the deal?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
And so when you net those two, it's 160.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Is that just a financial cost sharing? In other words, we figured, hey, this deal is going to cost $7 million. UA, you take 1.4 and we'll take 5.7. Is it just a financial division, or it is a division of which sectors of the work is being done? You understand what I'm asking?
So the financial division, I think, is very simple.
Is it one contract that we're just splitting the dollar cost on, or is it a contract with two construction components? You're doing that one and you're doing that one.
That's basically it.
The
Yes.
second one?
The second one.
Well, why are we not? So the 288,000 was a saving on our portion,
That's right.
and
Yes.
their portion went up 128.
Yeah, maybe think of it, and we know there was lines on multiple streets, but the university had a component of that water line distribution that was their financial obligation, that segment of pipeline. They made some changes and asked for some additions in that part of their pipeline. Our side of the pipeline that we were contributing money to, there was probably some changes as well, but the deduct amount to the city is the 288. There was an increase on the university side by a small amount. But when you add the two together, and it's just one contract to one contractor, you just got two sources of money to pay that contractor. The result is the deduct in the total contract amount.
So it's just a financial split. There's not, on the one contract, there's not two component scopes of work and one
No.
party's taking.
No, that's right. I may have misunderstood
Okay,
you.
no,
the first
that's all
time.
right. I hadn't seen it
And
before,
Mr.
so I'm
Busby,
just learning
there's an
this.
amendment to the funding agreement with UA for UA to increase the amount they're funding on finance committee today.
Okay. I thought I followed this. Walk me through that again, please, Mr. Holmes.
So,
Scott, come on.
yeah, now I've gotten into it. So there was a total contract amount, and they were gonna pay X amount, we were gonna pay Y amount of it. Then there's been some deduction in our cost, right? We came out better on some of the pay items. They came out worse on some of the pay items. And so the total amount, including their increase in our deduction, created a smaller deduction. So we're amending the funding agreement with UA for them to pay us the increase
Oh, okay.
because of them. Yes.
So we're not paying the university?
No, sir. No, sir. They're paying us.
You follow that? I do now. Actually. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 4 is approved. Item number 5, approval to enter into minor public works contract with ST Bund Construction for the Woodridge Drive drainage repair. Total is $25,930. Welcome, Clint.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Yes, sir. Like you said, it's a minor public works construction contract with ST Bund. So where we're at right now is at the intersection of Woodridge Drive and Woodridge Crest Drive. There's just a hole that's been holding water for a very long time. It's caused some cracks and damage to the asphalt right there, and so we're wanting to come in and regrade it so that the water properly drains off that end of the intersection right there. I believe there's some pictures that kind of show what's going on as well. But yes, sir. So this will come out of the neighborhood's drainage fund. The start of work will be about 30 days after we award it, and it shouldn't take too long. So, yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Second.
Moving second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 5 is approved. Item number 6 is approval of a minor public works contract with ServPro for mold remediation and environmental services. The total, $970. Eric, welcome.
Hello. So this is to remediate mold over at ESD. This is actually coming out of the ESD's account. And we're going through just cleaning up some water issues that they have in one of their rooms.
Motion.
Second.
Moving second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 6 is approved. Item number 7, approval of a minor public works contract with Triple J Tree to remove a tree at 3200 3rd Avenue. The total is $3,200. Craig, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, council. Like it says, just going into a minor public works contract with Triple J for $3,200 for a tree that Councilman Neer brought to us. One of his constituents called him. Tree was damaged in a storm, and we want to take care of it. It is a tree that is in the right of way.
So moved.
Second. Second.
Moved and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 7 is approved. Item number 8 is authorization for the mayor to submit the FY24 FAA pre-application for the airport improvement program. Welcome, Jeff.
Good afternoon. This is our annual request for consideration for any of our eligible projects from both FA's programs and ALDOT's programs. This is that central location that we communicate all those projects that we want to be considered that will eventually be followed on by specific grant application for each individual project. There's ALDOT's 50/50 grant, there's entitlement grants, there's discretionary grants, and then there's airport terminal grants under the bipartisan infrastructure law. So this application is our most current list of projects that we're looking at for FY24.
And the list of projects goes to,
It flows through ALDOT, and then it will eventually go to the airport district's office. For
all
that
of
FAA.
it goes to ALDOT first, and then it starts branching out to the most applicable grant program?
It goes to that one office within the FAA. They start bouncing around all the projects from both Mississippi and Alabama. So this is our representation for Tuscaloosa's projects that we're interested in. They try to see how many projects they can fund out of the total funding that they get between the two states. Except for the ALDOT. ALDOT just looks at their own project and see what they can administer each city.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank Jeff for being here. I had the opportunity to sit down with him and to go over the various details and the things that are coming with the airport. And I think he and his team are working very hard to make sure that we get the best quality like no other at our airport, as well as the good people to work there and do the things that we need to do as we make upgrades and as we prepare for the future. So I would like to make a motion that we accept his presentation.
Second.
Before we vote,
Jeff, once you turn in this application, then we will get together and go specifically back to what we're asking for and what the requirements would be that you feel like for us to be competitive. Because I know when you and I talked about this, it's kind of like some of these road projects. The more money that we put up, the better chance we've got
That's right.
in order to receive these particular grants, or hopefully maybe an earmark or something, correct?
Typically, most of our grant applications are just based off the justification of the project. Is it rightfully designed for the type of airport we have? The exception is the airport terminal program, where there's $1 billion across the country. You start sorting that out amongst 3,800, it becomes very competitive. So we're at year 3 of that program. We've applied different ways towards the program. We've done 100% funding. We've looked at 85, 15% funding. There's only about 100 airports nationwide, about 20 airports our size. So we're fighting over about 100 million. So the average is about 1 to 7, 1 to 8 million for the grant awards for our size airports. For Alabama, Huntsville got the first grant out of that program. Last year, Fairhope was the only airport in Alabama that got this.
How much did Huntsville get?
10 million,
What about Fairhope?
2.
So Jeff, out of the billion available, once you start tiering it, they tier it first by size, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
your big metro area airports, they may take 750 million right off the top.
Yes, sir.
It's the 100 million that's left for airports of our size
That's correct.
across the country.
There's a statute that a minimum of 100 million must stay protected for our size airport. So that's what we're up against other communities and trying to make an appropriate application. So I think, like Mr. Mr. Crow was saying, that the more aggressive we can show that we're willing to partner and leverage that funding, I think that makes us more competitive.
What's an example of more aggressive partnering?
A higher local share versus asking for 100% federal share.
To back up Mr. Busby's question, you said that airports of our size, the top that they usually receive, did you say 7 million? 7, 8
This
million?
last year was just over 7 million, I believe. I think the year before, I think it went all the way up to 15 million. So every year is going to be a little bit different. But
Unavailable funds and whatever's happening.
so this is a preliminary part of the discussion. We definitely invite you to continue more in depth about our approach and why we're recommending this application. September 29th at a lunch and learn workshop with City Council. The next step following that will be the specific application for the terminal, and that's October 19th. So this is not the one time to make this ask. We'll provide more information here later this month.
That's good. There's a motion and a second on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Jeff, for your hard work on this.
Thank you.
Item number 9 is authorization to enter into a contract with Lance Holloway Productions for production of the video to be used for police recruitment efforts. The total is $15,000. Richard?
Yes, sir. So this is a contract that will get all of our assets for the entire upcoming campaign completed. So this will handle all of the video. This is actually a little bit misleading where it says production of a video. So this will be all of the video work and all of the photography work for the whole campaign. And this will actually give us a 5-minute video that they can take on the road with them, a 1-minute video that we can put on social media and over-the-top ads or YouTube, or that we can really use to target specific individuals, and then a 30-second ad that we can put on cable TV. So this will handle all the video work and then any photos that we need for the campaign going forward.
Where's the funding come from, Doctor? Is that
This is from that public safety
that's
fund that's in communications.
it's in communications within the public safety line item?
Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
And is this coming out of 24 or 23?
This is actually coming out of 23 because so about, I don't know, and Kevin might be able to answer this a little bit better than I could, but about halfway through the year, we paused and Brent, Chief said, hey, okay, so what we're doing right now, we've got this type of campaign. I would really like to see us move more towards this style of a campaign. And so we're using this to create new assets going forward. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 9 is approved. Well, we saved the best for last. MLK Jack Warner Parkway Improvement Project Update. Mr. Gurney, welcome.
Good to see you, Brian.
Good afternoon, good to see you all.
Excited to have you back. You thought you were leaving.
I know y'all miss me.
Exactly.
So yeah, I've got a 87 slide PowerPoint.
Good.
So if you got somewhere to be, good. Trying to make a joke.
Well, you're
I
gonna
got
be over there a long time.
I've got
Turn it off.
I've got a brief presentation. I've got about 4 slides and then a cool drone video to show you at the end, and we'll just kind of recap what's going on with our MLK Jack Warner Parkway project. So if you can go to the first slide. Oh, I got the clicker. So I want to start with an overview of the phases. You know, the project has been broken out in 3 phases, and you might ask, why did we break the project out in phases? Phase 1 is, you can see it on the screen in the yellow. Phase 1 is complete. Phase red is under construction, and the green is phase 3 that we're optimistic to get the bids later this year, early next year. But why did we break it out into phases? So in 2020, phase 1 was ready to go, but we were still dealing with the railroad on phase 3, and for phase 2, we had the decision to put the utilities underground, their overhead utilities, to put those underground came a little bit later in the design. So that part of the project wasn't ready. So in order to, get what we could under construction, get that going to take advantage of those prices that time and avoid the continuous rising prices, we let phase 1 in 2020. And then phase 2 came later once that design was complete. In late 21, that project was bid.
It's still ongoing.
And still ongoing, and I'll get to that. And then phase 3, of course, we've been engaged with the railroad. We've been engaged with the railroad since 2017 on this effort. And so at that time, we had a pre-design where the railroad company was, we told them what we want to do, and we entered into an agreement to enter into that process where, we're getting permissions to reconstruct 2 railroad bridges with their, with them as a partner, meaning like their review and their input and those kind of things. So, but again, we've been working with them. They're aware of the project. They're excited about the project. And based on our most recent discussions, I'm optimistic that we're going to get this thing to bid by the end of the year, early next year. So, one more thing is, over here.
You're optimistic we're gonna get phase 3 to bid by early 24?
Yes.
And how long will that, if things go well, how long will it take to do phase 3 to get all of
2
this
years.
completed? 2 years.
The construction period. So, a couple things to point out on this overall exhibit. This right here, that's what we call the Southern Spur Road. We have that currently in our plans as an alternate. Just want to make you aware of that. And then the cyan color there is the Western Riverwalk, or here's
What
the
color
Western
did you call that?
That's cyan.
It's cyan color.
Cyan?
Come on, Lee. Come
We
on.
didn't have those in our.
That light blue?
Yeah,
Okay, go
that's
ahead.
cyan.
Looks blue to me.
That's the end of the Western Riverwalk. And phase 3 will come in and create that connectivity with the shared use path extending along the Northern Spur Road under the newly constructed mainline rail bridge, and then connecting to the existing pedestrian system on the east side of the.
And Brian, you
rail
said
bridge.
the Southern Spur Road currently showed in there as an alternate or alternative?
Yeah, meaning we'll
Depending
bid
on
it, we'll
what?
get a price on it,
But that's an alternate.
and
And
then
that's in the-
we'll,
that's
I
in
mean,
the
the
country
decision will
club
be
property?
made
Yeah.
whether to move forward with that component of the project.
Depends
We'll
on-
get a price
Depends
on
on
it
cost.
and then
Yeah.
determine whether to move forward.
Yes, sir.
TCRIC is lukewarm on that, and there's multiple discussions on that, and so the decision was, let's get an alternate, and then we will, the road commission then will make a decision.
Okay.
And did you say you're gonna talk separately about the phase 2
I am. I've got a slide.
appropriately coated in red?
And I was gonna ask you about phase two, Brian. Phase two, shouldn't that be
Has
done?
stopped.
The timeline for that? Because many people thought that it had stopped, but the
So phase
completion
two,
date and open date, can you talk
yeah,
about that?
so
a little bit?
phase two, right, got slowed down this summer by problems with utility companies, getting them on a schedule to relocate their utilities.
Mhm.
You know, this is a problem that, like I learned a couple weeks ago, UA is dealing with the same kind of problem on the road they're constructing by Snowhead Park. You know, one specific is we had the utility companies relocating, or their stuff had been relocated. The gas company, they do a design, it's coordinated with our design, so when they relocate, it's not in the way again. When they relocate it, they didn't follow their own design, they put it in the way again, so they had to relocate it twice. So this is the kind of thing that slowed down this project over the summer. Now, at this point, the utilities are out of the way, our contractor's back on site. The western half of the road is closed. If you've been down there, you've seen that. You know,
Right.
for a long time, it was, you could go eastbound with through traffic. No through traffic. Everybody has local access. That's maintained. But again, the west half is closed. The projections on the schedule with that are that about after the Tennessee game, they should be done with that western half.
Good.
And then we'll flip it. They'll do the eastern half, focus on that. And in conjunction with that, the western half will be closed. Again, local access will be maintained. And then the projection is for them to be done by the end of November, 11/30/23. So that's the phase two schedule update. If you remember last week, we had the change order to add time. We had 120 days. That contract started, for phase two, it started in May. It was supposed to be done in August, and we've had a 120-day extension that we had it last week due to the utility relocations. We added some drainage scope that's part of the roadway. That work, like, I guess to get into this a little bit, will be reimbursed by TICRIC. I believe we've worked through those questions. The Newtown Pocket Park was in that change order. That work is funded outside the TICRIC reimbursements through a separate general fund budget line item, Newtown Pocket Park. So that's all in motion. And again, the projected finish date is the end of November.
Walt, isn't the scheduled opening of the Savings Center in the spring of 26? that right?
Probably I think it's last quarter of 26.
26. Okay. I was just thinking that that's about the time phase three is supposed to be finished. He said take 2-ish years, right?
It'll probably be going around about the same time.
So backing up to phase one, just to hit on phase one, it's complete. We had the bouncing change order last week. In that change order, there was really two components to the overrun. The overrun of the undercut and backfill, which was basically there's landfill debris that we had to undercut to a depth of at least 10 feet for several tens of feet between basically the Nick Skids Avenue and the railroad bridge. So during construction, we decided to go forward with excavating a larger amount than was in the plans so that we could be done on that side. And that does two things, or does several things, but one thing, we took advantage of the price we had at that time in that contract, instead of saving it for later, do it in phase three. At that point, it'd be more expensive. And then again, our contractor would have to mobilize on that side. He's gonna have to mobilize on that side anyway, but this takes care of the landfill mitigation efforts on that side of the bridge, so we won't have to get into that again. It also,
On that side of the bridge,
On the
being
east
the
side.
east side of the
Yes,
bridge,
sir.
which there's very little of that, right?
well, that picture's deceiving. I mean, I don't know.
Let's- How much landfill is on the east side of the bridge?
I mean, here's the bridge.
There's the bridge.
Here's the approximate end of the project. We're excavating down, like I said, 10 feet to get landfill debris out and backfill with stone and select material. So, again, in relative, it's not that much, but I mean, I'm just trying to make it.
And
it's
Bunch of dirt, bunch of
it's
dump
100
trucks.
feet or so.
Landfill debris is literally something that was, that area was used as a landfill one time, or are you just saying landfill?
No, it
in
was
the
used as a
general-
landfill.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is why we had to go so deep.
And that's why you had the roller coaster effect.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the road would sink. And then every time you built it up, it's still going to sink.
It's also was a recreational swimming lake.
And a baseball field.
Really?
I'll show you the pictures.
To the mayor's point, like, we had the roller coaster effect on Jack Warner Parkway that's been mitigated with this project. But that was another reason to move forward with that additional undercut, was because we didn't want that settlement to show up, you know, after we get out of phase one,
And then the road.
if that makes sense. And then the other part of the tree, there was tree clearing in that change order. That is not funded with TICRIT. That'll be funded through 2028. But I just wanted to kind of rehash that point. I think we hit phase two pretty comprehensively, and kind of back to
Phase 3, yeah.
back to phase three. Like I said, we've had we've had good discussions with the railroad. The railroad was owned by KCS, Kansas City Southern, and then over the past year, 18 months, they merged with a company called Canadian Pacific. That slowed down their reviews for our project, no question. That kind of got buttoned up in the spring. Since then, we've submitted our mainline plans back to them late summer. They had a 30-day turnaround on those plans. That's where my optimism's coming from. We had a phone call with the remaining comments, Thompson and ourselves and the railroad company. The railroad company's got review engineers. We've got sub-consultant bridge engineers on a call. The call went well. We're talking about bidding the project. This is kind of the discussions we're having. And so we're going to resubmit our plans at here shortly, September 22nd, and you know, hope to, like I said, move into bid here end of the year, early next year.
This is good news. Brian, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Brian, in the merger of the two, from Canadian Pacific and KCS, what is that new company? What is the new company?
Yeah, it's the acronym is CPKC. They got a cool train on the front of their logo, like an old school steam engine.
And the degree of difficulty with this project is, even for non-engineers, pretty clear. The main line and spur line have to remain active as we're replacing huge segments of the stream. So, again, it's not simple. You know, it's going to be a very complex project. And understandably, the railroad company approved this project several years ago, but as they go through the engineering review stage, they're very careful, as they should be.
That's good. That's a good thing. Got a video.
The cool part.
Yeah. What? No, there's no sound. That would have been cooler. So that's Stillman. This is just a drone video of phase one, the MLK section. That's Stillman at the bottom of the screen. Decorative signal there. That's Dollar General on the right. You can see the landscaping. Shared use path on the left. Sidewalk on the right. Looks good.
Very much so.
Good, it looks good on ground too.
Yeah, they do.
That spot at the top of the screen is where the pocket park will go. Right here, and then down pocket park in that space there.
Yeah.
And that's 6th Street coming out just in front of it.
That's 7th Street. Oh, it's on the top side is 6th.
Yeah.
So that's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good presentation.
Good update.
Yes, sir. Any other questions for Brian? Thank you for that update, and then Ms. Standridge, I know you,
Have the handout
thank you.
and pass. So it's hard to follow up, Mr. Gurney's,
This presentation.
the beautiful pictures that you have on the finished product with the price tag. What you have in front of you is just a general overview of the finances for the project and where we currently stand with it.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
If you will recall, in 2020, the city issued a bond for about $38 million to fund this project. Included within that was supposed to be the total overall project in and of itself. When we started creating phases and then did increase the scope of the project, we all realized that for phase 3, there's going to need to be a new bond issuance that comes to be able to complete the project in total. So at the top of the report that you see, you will have the bond proceeds. We have a few items that were not covered under the bond that TCRIC reimbursed the city for directly. Total overall revenues to date for this project is $43.3 million. What we have used so far to date, that will include phase 1 construction and phase 2 construction, all right-of-way acquisition, utility relocations, is about $35 million. So what we have left over remaining for phase 3 contract is about $8.2 million. Phase 3 will come in at about $39 million total. And so that means that we'll need to do a bond issuance to be able to award the phase 2 bid contract of about $30 million, 30.1. Within that new bond issuance, as Brian kind of alluded to previously, there have been a couple of ancillary costs that the city of Tuscaloosa has taken on just from the city's standpoint, and then the remaining amount will be a TCRIC obligation under our funding agreement.
Mr. Chair. Yes, sir. Ms. Andrews, thank you so much, because many people, I want them to know the total investment that will be into this area. Can you give me like a ballpark figure so that people will know what the investment is to West Tuscaloosa?
It's a $75 million project.
And that's the 43.4 and the
And the
30?
39.1.
So I don't think it's the 39.1,
Sorry, the
it's the
30.9,
30, right?
yeah, sorry, the 30.9.
So at what point, at what point did we realize we were gonna need another 30 million in bonds? Did we originally think the 43 was gonna get us through the whole project? And then as we got into it, we identified it's gonna take another 30?
There was two main drivers of the increased cost. First was the decision to go underground utilities around 2020-21. We felt there might be some economic development opportunities at the old country club site. And to enhance that, we felt going ahead and getting underground utilities both on the West Tuscaloosa side, and as you heard Brian in the presentation talk about, on the east side would be a good idea, because we felt that could be an economic development gateway into the 110 acres, which today is undeveloped. So we went ahead and made that decision. That added, the underground utilities added a considerable amount to both phases. And the second part is just the great inflation. This project was scoped, it's been, over the years it's been developed, but when we originally went with the 20A bond issue, that was before construction prices went up 39%. It's the same time period. So those two things have been the main drivers of the increased cost. TICRIC who is ultimately funding the project, the city's managing it, has scrutinized these costs, and I can assure you heavily. And they're picking up about 98, 99% of the costs. The only items that are not being picked up in this are the tree clearing that we did on the phase 1. That was a little bit over $300,000. Understandably, TICRIC, that they felt that was more of an aesthetic than a road function, and probably right. I don't disagree with their judgment on that. But if we wouldn't have done it, it certainly would have taken away from this significant historic investment into West Tuscaloosa. Number 2 is the Newtown Park. Again, understandably, that is not a function of TICRIC, and so we felt that was an opportunity. So those are there's some other, maybe some other ancillary items that are not being covered by TICRIC, but those are the two primary ones off the top of my head.
And do we have any sense of when this next $31 million bond issue would be needed, and if it would be bundled with other needs or a standalone?
So, originally I had wanted, I was trying to time them to where an MLK Jack Warner Parkway issuance would possibly be in alignment with the Saban Center issuance. However, with Mr. Gurney's hopeful prediction of being able to award bid by beginning of January, I would think that we would have to have a bond issuance prior to bid award.
So, January, February?
If we continue on the time frame that we currently think that we're on, yes, sir, it'd be about, I would think that we would need to be doing bond rating December and actual issuance first of the year.
I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Carly. Good presentation. We have reached the end of our meeting. Is there any other business to be brought before this committee? Our next committee meeting will be next Tuesday, September the 26th. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor